All right, we're doing some uncut today. This is batch 208A and B, and let me tell you, the uncut batches. So I had somebody. I've been through this before. I had someone say, "Oh, the uncut." I shouldn't do it in a voice because I don't want to make fun of people because they're not being bad. They don't deserve a voice. I've had people say, "Hey, uncut has been tasting young to me lately." They are older. They're older than they've ever been. I do not have to make uncut accessible anymore because there is buttery, soft desert cold. And I've been through this. I've been through this in 2021 where when I didn't have any young barrels, I did 10 batches in a row that had no younger 4-year or 5-year to knock down the oak, and everybody complained that those batches were too young because the average general consumer, anything they taste, sometimes they taste something harsh, they say youth. And believe me, it took me a long time to find out, I should say find out, but figure out and discern the difference between over-oaked and the harshness of youth. Now, when we get into these uncut batches, I do not think they're over-oaked. For my palate, for me drinking bourbon all the time, dealing with bourbon all the time, I can taste the depth and complexity, and it's amazing. But somebody who does not have a palate like mine is going to think that they are harsh because they're too oaky for them and they're too young. I'm going to tell you that I've got the 7-1 Qs. Those are like 2 to 3 weeks away from being 8-year. So 7-year first floor warehouse Q, 7-year second floor warehouse C. Those are racked. 7-year 6th floor warehouse E. Those are racked. And so this is about 60% 7-year. The reason it's not more is because it got too oaky and I didn't like the way it tasted. But this is intense. This is big. This is deep. Batch 208, A and B. Again, I can blend them how I want now. If you want accessible cast strength, there's Desert Colt. I mean, you know, the irony of all this stuff is everybody's gonna like, it's like, look, we've been through it before. I even just saw somebody say, "Oh, I tried Desert Colt. I don't like it as much as Uncut to Younger." They're the same. They're exactly the same. Unless you had them in the beginning where they weren't really balanced, but like for the past, I don't know, at least year to 2 years, it's the same. I released those in, well, I guess it's been 2 years, 2022. So the first 6 months was rough, but the past year and a half. So it's just always like that. Like, I remember in 2021, those batches weren't as good as the old batches. And then 2023, the batches you really wanted were the 2021 batches. And it's always going to be like that, psychologically. You're always going to have people that say, "Oh, these batches." So we're basically pretty much exactly where I was when we started, which was 60% 8-year. That was like generally 3rd floor warehouse G. I've got 6th floor, 7-year. I've got the 7-1 Qs. Those are basically 8-year, and 7-2 C. That is a low floor for racked, but I'm liking what they're bringing to the party. And then I have 1, 2, 3 different locations of 4-year. One of those that we doubled up on, did more than the others, is the 6th floor 46E. 46E is superhuman warehouse. I mean, these 6th floor warehouse E's, only 4 years, are down to 190 proof. And if you're looking for if you're looking for hazmat, you're not gonna find it in this guy, because the hottest we had going in was 116.3, and doing that 4-year 6th floor, and the 7-1 Qs, well, I only did 10% of those. The bulk was the 7.2C and the 7.6E. You know, those are only 116 proof, so it was probably, I mean, when I did it, this hydrometer reads low, but it was like 114. So, it's big. This is like batch 23 territory. Like, big, just so insane, so big. If you're not into like lots of big spice, lots of depth, lots of oak, there's tons of oak, you're not gonna like this. Go get Desert Colt. I mean, it's just, if you have had a recent batch in the 200s or even like the 180, like those have all, that is when the market turned and the focus was more on small batch, because anything over 55 took a dump. We're talking about basically a year. Last July, last year is when the bottom fell out of the high-end market. They have been older, and if you don't like those, you don't like age. I know that you've been trained to think that you want a 24-year-old bourbon, but I can tell you, in all the tastings I do, I can give someone, the majority of the people, if I let them try Uncut Unfiltered, they think it's too harsh. It's only the real ones that love it. And the majority of people, the crowd favorite is generally with everyone is small batch. And then like people coming from tequila, or they don't really drink bourbon, or they're only drinking 90 proof stuff, which is chill filtered. It's got the tannins removed. It has it's been stripped of its flavor. They like the straight, the 92.5 straight. Nothing wrong with that. It's one double golds. So, you know, this is getting to be a long video. A lot happening. Let's see what's going on. Oh, okay. Oh, it's mellowed out a little bit. I went through all that. It's big. That oak. There is an oak char residue on the back of my tongue that is massive, and I love it. This was so sweet, and then there was all this complex spices from oak spice and cinnamon spice. If you're not a big cinnamon spice fan, I would not worry. The cinnamon spice is there, but it's not dominant. I would say the oak spice is dominant. And as I'm talking, it's like charry oak, but it's okay because I've also got tons of honey and maple syrup on my tongue. This is very deep, very beautiful, but huge, 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 huge slapper. Yeah, baby, I'm loving it. That is, that is so good. It's so rich. We're not getting up front, you know, it's summertime, so I'm not trying to turn this into brown sugar because it's like 108 degrees today. So a little lighter up front, we're more into the caramel apple territory as far as sweetness up front. And then just massive finish. There's so much complexity, there's so much depth. But you have to be a seasoned bourbon drinker for these, okay? If you're not a seasoned bourbon drinker, you're not gonna like them. Try small batch. See where you're at with small batch. Try Desert Colt. See you are with a buttery, soft cast strength. That if you're not drinking deep, complex bourbons that are non-chill filtered, non-charcoal filtered, have age to them, have depth to them, and your palate has gotten acclimated to those flavors, this is going to be too hard. It's going to be too hot, too harsh, and you're going to say it's young. And then I'm going to have to be like, you don't know what you're talking about. The majority of this is like 7-year and basically 8-year. There's nothing youthful about this at all. There is no youth going on at all in any of these newer uncut batches, like zero. There's zero youth characteristics. So if you are trying them and you think that they're young, it's because you don't like oak. Go for, the irony is you want something younger. You want something softer. You want something less complex with less oak spice, less depth, a little more delicate. Oh boy. Woo! Woo! That'll slap you in the face and send you home to your mommy. Mommy, the smoke wagon man hurt me with this big harsh cut batch. 208A and B. Oh wow. Oh my God. There is something going on right now on the back of my tongue as far as finish wise, and it's magical. All right, I'm gonna have, I think we've spit out, well, crap. I gotta go taste barrels. So I can't drink too much. I don't wanna feel the effects of alcohol, and I don't wanna burn out my palate. But I got to see how this drinks. Hoo-wee. No burn going down. It's all back of your throat, back of your tongue. There's a lot happening. That is phenomenal. That's, again, it's big. It's really big, and it's got a lot of oak. And if you're not into oak, if you're not into oak spice, and you're not into all these big, massive flavors, it's going to be too much for you. Your palate's not going to be able to handle it. That is oaky, but it's not oak dominant. The sweet on the finish, the maple syrup and the honey is what's dominant. There's a lot happening. I'm really into it. That's bigger than I would normally do, I think, in the summertime, but you know, I'm just having fun with Uncut now because anything over 55, there's much less demand for it. If you're looking for an accessible cask, I don't have to satisfy everybody. This is not our only cask strength bourbon now. Now there's Desert Cold. That is made to appeal to a much wider audience. It's, like I said, it's so buttery soft for a cask strength. This is not made to appeal to a wide audience. This is for bourbon people that want just something really massive and intense and different, and they want to know they're alive. This will overpower most cigars. You got to get a big cigar to keep up with this sucker. It's huge. I'm totally into it. Batches 208 A and B. I keep forgetting, but yeah. Right now, all I have is 4-year and 7-year. I have a bunch of 4-year that's been set aside that I have not been pulling from those locations, and those will be 5-year in September, and then the majority of my 7 years are going to be 8-year in about 2 weeks, and so so that's what's going on. But these are all 36% rye, 4% barley, 60% corn, our normal mash bill. So, how long is this video? 12 minutes, not too bad. All right, I'll talk to you later.